you're speaking to a whole variety of different homes, different householders with all sorts of different problems. Of course, you may have, for an argument's sake, a 2-bedroom property, let's say 2-bedroom property, 2 semis. One side you've got a couple living in it, the next one you've got a big family of 4, 5, 6 in some occasions living in it. So the way they use their energy is going to be entirely different. Their user behaviour and how much energy they consume, and potentially what that plan needs to look like. But we have had experience. There was an experience in Gosport once where we experienced really severe mould and damp within a property. So we had to really guide that customer through that process to make sure that we were addressing the ventilation of the home as well as the insulation, because if you don't address the ventilation, then the insulation actually makes that install even more problematic as a result of it. So we've had many instances where you're having to deal with all of these barriers and also all of these outside problems. It's not as simple as advising and just putting it on the wall if you're talking about insulation, or sticking solar panels on the roof. It's so individual because every house has different areas of issues. So I think over the years, I mean, we've spoken to thousands of homes nationwide since we began. But I mean, there's so many that have resulted, particularly going back over the last 10 years with external wall insulation. That has been the biggest measure that we've installed, or we've seen through to install, should I say, as part of our service. But seeing the difference in communities when you go in after the install is something to behold. You have suddenly got beautifully swept driveways, hanging baskets that you've never seen before. It's phenomenal. New turf laid down outside the front door. And we did a job on a beautiful mining estate in Kippax in Leeds. And it was a nice estate to begin with, in all fairness. But of course, very poorly insulated properties. So the whole drive for that particular project was external wall insulation. But the one thing that we really managed to educate people through that programme was it wasn't just about the warmth and the energy saving, because that back then energy bills weren't too bad. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't on the agenda so much. But the one thing that really made a difference for people was the curb appeal, and the fact that how the house prices went up because they had this lovely new white render. Low maintenance. They'd gone from this dirty rendered finish to now this beautiful white render looking really sharp. And it was amazing when you drove onto that estate after the work had been done and saw the knock-on effect that the whole community had had.